Something about her, something about her. She don't need it, you can hold the bronzer.
Okay.
All right, we made it.
We're back.
Didn't think it was gonna happen.
I know,
Again.
because it's been like 3 weeks since the last time we've talked.
Yeah, it's
Well,
been
officially talked.
while. Yeah, since we've done this because we just had a lot going on with our trip to Sedona, and then just recovering, I think, from that, and then you had like engagement stuff. So
Yes, I know. It's gonna these are gonna come out like one after the other, but the
Yeah.
last episode was actually recorded 3 weeks ago, so a lot of things we talked about in the last episode happened within the past 3 weeks.
yes, exactly. So I mean, you guys won't miss much, but for us, it feels like it's been a while that I've been sitting here doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, today our topic is kind of like a deeper one. I think like we've been pretty like laxed, I think, for the most part going into this. Like our first one was just, about us and what this podcast is gonna be about. Then we talked about wedding stuff, but I think this one's a little bit more
Sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we kind of talked about wanting to talk about is actually body shaming in Desi culture, and just body shaming, I guess, in like everyone's culture, and how difficult it is as a woman growing up and like having everyone's opinions about what your body should look like, what the media says your body should look like, dealing with people making comments.
Yeah, and just kind of like how that affects like the way that you look at yourself and like the stuff that you internalize, I think, and in the way that you look at your body and the way that you take things. And kind of, I think a good thing to talk about is like a little bit about like even social media and how that's affected like body image as well, because I think it's caused a lot of things for a lot of people, a lot of feelings for a lot of people, for sure. So, yeah.
I was just thinking about how even like growing up as like kids, like we would think about it a lot. Like I remember at parties, sometimes I would feel uncomfortable if I wanted to go back for seconds. But like, I don't think any of my guy cousins or my brother ever had that like thought cross their minds, like whether or not they should go back for seconds.
Yeah, I feel like in our culture specifically, I think like they actually like want guys to eat more. Like I feel like the guys are always like, oh, eat, like take more. Oh, you're only eating this much. Like, oh, fill your plate more. Like it's not that like I don't think like I ever got any messages about like food necessarily, but like obviously that went hand in hand with like just comments about your weight, like because obviously that's what it means,
Yeah.
like, which was like also annoying because it was like conflicting messages sometimes. Like I feel like my parents would be like wanting me to eat stuff, like they'd be like, oh, you're not finishing your food, or like eat this, blah, blah, blah. But then at the same time it's like you were worried about your weight and you're like, I don't want to eat this for this reason, or yeah, it's good that I'm not finishing this. But then it's like,
yeah, and actually not even just like your parents, but like if you would go to like anyone's like house, like an auntie or uncle's house, they're always like pressuring you to eat like the sweets that they have, or like finish the food that they have out. But then they're also the ones that are like making comments about your weight and like what looks good and what doesn't look good. And I think we've gotten better in society about like accepting everyone's body, like a little bit better than it was back then. But it still like does something to your psyche,
Oh no, most definitely. Like I just feel like it's such a big topic. I don't even know like where to start, but like definitely I think for us it started at like a pretty young age. I mean, just like, I don't know, it was always like a thing. And sometimes I'm like, I think back to it and I can't even remember like specific instances that like my mom would say something or someone would say something, but I just remember it always hovering in the back of my mind, and I'm like trying to remember like where that came from. Like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it was like maybe like my mom also feeling that pressure herself, so maybe her talking about it in front of me a lot, like just kind of internalized it in my head, like, oh, she's thinking about this or she's wanting to look like this, so like I should too, sort of thing. Because, like, I know that, like, for you, it's a little different. Like, your experience was a little different. But, like, sometimes when I think to it, I'm like, I can't remember, like, exact like, moments or, like, comments that were made to me. Like, but I just remember always having that feeling in my head.
That they could be made. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, I felt it most when I would wear, like, Desi clothes. Especially because I think at, like 12 or 13 is when I like reached the height that I am now. And so at 12 and 13, I still had like a kid body, but like was the height of like a grown adult for a lot of like Desi people. So going to like Artesia and finding clothes to wear was really difficult because my body didn't meet the same expectations of a lot of like these tiny Pakistani women. And I think like going and getting clothes for like any Eid occasion or wedding occasion like always left me like flustered and frustrated because no one was happy in the situation. Like I wasn't able to like fit into the clothes that they had, and my mom was unhappy about it, and so I would just like storm out and just like be upset. And I remember those moments, and it definitely wasn't fun, but I think it's really hasn't changed much with like Artesia and the clothes that they have out there because I went recently.
Yes, I need to hear this story. So this story is one that she gave me an idea that there was going to be a story, but she did not tell me. So I'm going to hear it just like you guys for the first time.
Yes. So, basically, I am getting married in October, and I went with my aunt to Artesia, which, for any of our out-of-state listeners, Artesia is a city in California that has a lot of Indian clothes and stuff.
It's pretty much like a little India.
Yeah.
So you go there for like food and outfits and jewelry and all that stuff.
Yes. Yeah, so I went with my aunt, and we went into a store where her friend is the owner, but her friend wasn't there. Her friend was out of the country. And we get there, and the person that was supposed to help us wasn't there. Apparently she had like an emergency or something, so we just deal with whoever is there to help us. And so they're picking out clothes for me to try on, and I go to try on the first one, and getting it over my shoulders, and actually not even getting over my shoulders, it was the arms that were like really difficult to like get my arms into. And I have to say, I actually have skinny arms. Like I don't have large arms. And I'm like, who the heck can fit into these arms, you know? So some of them I couldn't even like put over. And then other ones I had like an issue like around the chest area. And my aunt, BK, we laughed about it later because I would need another breast reduction then to fit into these outfits. So basically everything they had there was like an extra small in sizes, and they didn't have really anything else for you to try on, which is very different than what you get at like American dress shops because they have like multiple sizes for you to like fit into. Yeah. So everyone like puts something on and they clip you into it. But like it wasn't the case. So we end up picking and choosing the parts of the dresses that we liked because none of the ones that they actually had there met what I was looking for. But like we were talking about color, embroidery, neck style, length, and all of that. And then came time to taking my measurements. So she's taking my measurements, and I feel like she's not doing a good job because like I've taken my measurements before and they weren't what she was like writing down. And because I just did my measurements for your wedding and I got that dress in and it was a little bit big on me, I was wondering why her measurements that she was taking was even like larger than that, because I'm like, definitely don't want it bigger than what I got for yours. Because remember I talked to you about yours, like I felt like the waist didn't like cinch, right? Like it just like stayed out. It didn't like actually like fit my waist. So then after she started measuring the gera, which is where like they measure from your waist outwards, because the like dress or the skirt kind of has to flare out. So they measure from your hips outward. And my aunt was like, I think it's usually around like 55 inches. And the lady is like, no, I think we should do like 70 or 65 inches. And my aunt was like, or BK was like, no, like I'm pretty sure it's like that's too long. We don't want it to be like super big and heavy. And the lady like goes, she looks at me and then she looks at my aunt and she goes, well, she's not skinny.
No.
Yes. And like I think me and my aunt were like, we didn't know what to say, because it feels weird, right? When you go to Artesia, it doesn't feel like you're going to like an actual establishment. It feels like you're going to this like,
Yeah, like you're like probably in India or Pakistan, just like going to like random shops.
Yeah. And so like, because obviously like at any like establishment, they would never like make a comment
that.
about someone's body. But of course, like in Artesia, they would. So we don't say anything. And BK, our aunt is kind of just like, okay. Okay. And so she writes it down. She writes all that information down. And I didn't really think much about it until like later, because one, immediately I was thinking, well, good thing she didn't see me last year because I've lost weight since last year. And two, like I can't imagine what like a lot of other girls experience, because I don't look at myself as like a not skinny person, you know, and that like other people are probably experiencing the same things that I'm experiencing. And it happens to someone that's going for their wedding outfit.
Yeah, and to hear that is very like...
Yeah,
it could be. I mean, like, it's good that, like, you know, don't think that or, like, didn't think too much about it. But for someone, that could mean a lot.
Yeah.
Like, they could leave feeling, like, terrible about themselves, or, like...
Right.
It could really affect them if they already don't feel good about how they look.
And that got me thinking, like, if I do go back, because we were going to go back to talk to the owner, like, one, like, I would tell the owner up front, like, this is what happened, and this is the kind of service your employees have. And then two, like, do I even want to spend all this money at this place where that happened?
Yeah.
Or where they feel comfortable doing that and saying that?
Yeah.
So that's why I told you I'm not sure if I'll get my wedding outfit from this place. But I was definitely surprised that, like, people can still make comments even though they're not even related to you.
That's insane that, like, she would say that.
Yeah.
In general. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was definitely, yeah, I'm really glad that, like, I have, like, I'm, like, comfortable with my body and I'm not, like, worried or upset about, like, my appearance. But I do think that, like, it could have been a really bad situation for someone that, like, does struggle with body image, you know? Or, like, me a couple of years ago, that would have really, like, hurt me, you know? And, like, bothered me. But now I'm like, wow, I'm going to talk about this on Hold the Bronzer. People are going to be like, what the heck? And
yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting trying stuff on there. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They're always, it's like also the way they like look at you, like, you know, that they're like judging or like saying stuff like, yeah. I don't know. Like, I know when I went, like, I just mostly tried stuff on they had. The arm thing, though, is really weird because I think that's just, like, a thing. Because, like, even in, I think I told you about my outfits that came in. all my arms were like tight.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then even like my dad's, like this is for men too, like my dad's stuff that came in, Naveed's stuff that came in, all of their stuff had like tight arms. So I think they just like, I don't know what they do in India or Pakistan, but they just make their arms like really like tight.
But like really like when I try to picture like thin arms, I'm like, is there like no muscle? Is there like no fat? Is it just full bone?
No idea. Like, because I mean, like, for me, I was thinking, like, I generally have bigger arms. So in my head, I'm like, okay, like, makes sense. But at the same time, it doesn't because I sent them my measurements. So I'm like, I don't know why. But it was, like, the same thing with my dad and Naveed. Like, they sent their measurements. But for some reason, the arms were just tighter.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's because, like, I mean, this is, like, kind of what we thought. But, like, I guess people in, like, those countries don't really like work out, so they don't really have like any muscle at all in their arm. Like it's just flat. So maybe that's what they assume people's arms look like. I don't really know.
Yeah, like there, and then also I think like maybe like out there too, just based off of like genetics, they don't feel like they need to work out to like maintain a skinny body. They just like watch what they eat. Which is also confusing because
Mm-hmm.
again, anywhere you go in our culture, they're always like forcing you to eat.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's very interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think like growing up, like there's a lot of stuff with that in terms of our culture and stuff. I don't know. I like growing up, I didn't have that much of an issue because like I was a smaller kid. Like I was a tinier kid. So I never had like issues with like clothes or anything necessarily, but it was just like this like internal like voice that I would have, like, and it's funny because I think I told you now, it's like I look back at pictures and I'm like, wow, like I was actually like tiny, but for some reason even at that time I still had this like internal voice in the back of my mind. So it's like you wonder where these things come from, like where these messages come from, because they're definitely like subconsciously being placed in our minds.
Yeah, well, because like also as a kid, you're watching TV and then people are telling you, or like Tyra Banks is telling you the camera adds 10 pounds. And you're looking at these people and you're like, they're tiny and like they are 10 pounds less than what I'm looking at. Like,
yeah.
How is that even possible?
And then obviously the way that look at yourself, you always see yourself in a different light compared to even other people. Like, sometimes I feel like you tend to be the hardest on yourself than other people are as well. So, it's pretty crazy. I mean, I think, and social media hasn't made it easier. And I honestly think, like, I feel like now they're, like, at least the new generation's trying to, like, go back to this whole, like, skinny thing now. Like, skinny is in sort of thing. Like, that's what I've, like, recently been seeing. Like, the new trend that's coming in is, like, because, like, you know, for a while, like, curves were in. Like, having, like
the Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, like Kim Kardashian, like, that sort of wave happened. Which is, like, it was still, like, in a way, like, that's not real, like, because they're still skinny. They just have, like, bigger boobs and a bigger ass. But, like, it was still, like, okay, like, we're starting to at least see, like, not, like, stick skinny people. At least it's, like, still, like, something, you know? But I think, like, now I'm starting to see that, like, apparently some, like, Gen Zers are trying to bring back, like, the stick skinny.
Yeah. Well, also, like, if you think about it, like, in Euphoria, they're all mostly really tiny. They do have only one character that's representing like the larger population out there, but everyone else is like, Zendaya is like really skinny. You know, I mean, I do like that like Sydney Sweeney represents the women with like larger chests, but for the most part you don't see a television show where like mostly all the actresses on there are like normal.
Yeah, so that's concerning because, which is also interesting because I feel like the Gen Zers are really like trying to bring back this whole like everyone loves each other and like let's just be whatever. But then it's like I feel like I've seen a couple of things where people are like you're trying to bring back like the low jeans, which only benefit people that are stick skinny because on anyone else it's gonna look stupid.
Yeah, well, on anyone else, like you're gonna see like their butt crack. I saw a TikTok and someone was like dancing with like low-rise jeans and they didn't have a butt crack. And it was probably because they were like had like a really small butt. But like, yeah, for like girls that have a butt, like how are you gonna wear that?
Yeah. Yeah. Or any girl that has a shape, like you're gonna have like you're gonna hang over those because it's just like you have a shape. Like it's like that's gonna cut at like a very unflattering part of your body.
Yeah, you'd have to be like Marissa from the OC level.
Yes, well, that's when those types of jeans were in, was when we were in that era where the stick skinny was in, right? So like Marissa from the OC, Peyton and from from One Tree Hill, like that was when like the stick skinny was in because they could all wear those jeans and look fine in them, right? But it's like now that doesn't really. I don't know. It's just, I mean, even then it wasn't okay, but like now you're like trying to bring it back. It's like, no.
Yeah. So I was very on board with like going into the straight jean thing, but I don't think I can follow Gen Z into the low rise jeans thing because there's no way. I don't even know how, because there was a point where we were wearing low rise jeans.
Yeah, I know. I was like trying to think of that. I'm like, dang, what was like, you know what? I do remember it though. And I remember it still not being as flattering as like high-waisted jeans. Because I remember wearing those. And I was younger at that time, but I still remember being like, now I'm thinking back to it, I'm like, those were not as flattering as wearing high-waisted jeans.
Yeah.
These Gen Zers, honestly, guys, I mean, I'm sure maybe have some of y'all watching us, but y'all need to stop with your trends because your straight jean trend is not working for me either. I'm not on board with it.
Yeah, I think for jeans, everyone should just wear whatever jeans fits their body because it's really, really hard. And Gen Zers, please stop shaming us. We love you. Don't cancel us. Yeah. But yeah, back to body shaming. I know like you didn't have it like bad or anything like that, but like I've like experienced like so many different stories where someone has made a comment to me. I think like 3 or 4 years ago, one of my dad's cousin's mom, so she's like an older lady, like in her like she was probably in her, she's still alive, I think she's in her late 80s now, so she's probably like low 80s. She, one time I was like eating, we were at my house for a dinner, I'm eating, and she goes, the weight you're at right now is good, don't get any bigger. Like, just thank you for your opinion. I am now upset. And I think I skipped dessert.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, I definitely, like, the thing is, like, you would get comments. Like, the thing is, it's not even about, like, and I think, again, that's what I'm saying. It's like, comments, whether or not they're bad or good, like, there shouldn't be any comments about how you look, right? Like, whether or not it was, like, a bad one like that, or if it was, like I said, like, it's not, I didn't have it, like, bad comments thrown at me, but there was definitely comments about how I looked, right? And as a kid, you internalize those things, right? And so then you're thinking like, oh, I need to stay like this, or I need to be better than this sort of thing because people are commenting on it, you know?
Yeah. Or it's like they see you and they're like, oh my gosh, you've lost so much weight. Like, you look great. I think this is good. Like, I don't think you should lose more. And you're kind of like, well, thank you for telling me what you think I should do, but I'm actually not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me, and I'm going to still stay on my path for whatever I want it to be, you know? But like, I think even like when you get like skinny or like how your body looks, even if it's like a good way, they want to like sort of like impose themselves and be like, this is what I think you should do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think, like, I've gotten that a lot where, like, if I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm, like, going to the gym, or I'm, like, not, or I'm on a, like, I'll say, like, oh, I'm eating healthy right now or something. And they're like, why?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean, why? Like, I just want to. Like, it's none of your issue what I want to do, you know?
Yes. Yeah, I think the eating healthy thing, too. Like, a lot of people, like, get upset when you want to eat healthy. And you're kind of like, why? Why does this affect you? I'm doing this for me, you know, and I don't think it should bother people when someone's trying to like work on their body, because it's a very sensitive topic, and people like are obviously seeing other people. They're obviously comparing themselves to other people, and if they want to do it, then they can do it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like unless it's coming from a place of concern, like let's just say someone's doing things that are unhealthy. right? Because there's that too, right? Like, it's like we talk a lot about like weight and trying to lose it, but there's also like, you know, there's times where like people are going to try to look certain ways and be very unhealthy about it, or not be eating, you know, what they should be eating or whatever. Like, there's a lot of that too. And unless it's coming from a place of concern, like, there's really no one's business to say anything about it.
Yeah.
You know? And I think, I don't know, it's just really hard. And again, social media, it's like so fun. I think even, I just saw, literally before we started this, I was on Instagram. And I think I know who this person's talking about. But for the Oscars, right? Like, Courtney and Travis, like, they posted pictures together. And Courtney had like a little bit of like a bump in some of her pictures, right? So automatically people were like, oh, she's pregnant, or she gained weight, and da 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 da, right? Like, it was like an automatic thing, right? And so someone like, one of the other influencers I follow, she actually posted about it right now. She didn't talk about Courtney, but I'm guessing it was her. That's who she was talking about. But she even said, like, that angers me. Like, why was that the first thing that you guys decided to like look at? And then these are the same people that troll people for getting work done, right? So it's like, okay, so you either, like, how are you going to make someone happy, right? You make fun of them or you say shit about them when they're getting work done. But then if they have like a little bit of like a gut or something, you automatically like look at it and like, oh, look, she has a gut, or she gained weight, or she's probably pregnant. Like, which one do you want? Like,
Yeah.
because if she went and got work done, right, to get like a tummy tuck or something, you're gonna have something to say something about it too,
right?
You know, it's just crazy. Yeah. That's another thing that it really angers me, when people like have stuff to say about girls that want to get stuff done. Like, it's none of your business. Like.
Yeah, especially because, like, it's, like, also way more common now. Not to say that, like, it shouldn't have been an issue back then, but, like, I guarantee you, one, I'm going to make up a statistic. I'm going to give out straight facts on the podcast. Please don't fact check me. But I feel like 1 in, like, 4 girls has done something. You know, anything. Surgery, Botox, filler, anything. And it's okay because we have access to it. It's definitely way more accessible now. It's all over the place. I mean, like, even like in living in California, people say, oh, like, it's an LA thing, but like, you can get these things done in like Redlands or Riverside. Like, they're everywhere. It's not like you have to like drive really far, and it's not like they cost that much money. It's super attainable, and there's a lot of like science behind it stating that it's not like gonna give you like long-term like negative like results or anything like that. So if someone wants to do something to make them happier, then they should. Yeah.
Like, what is it to you? And like, that's what's like super annoying, because that's what you see on social media a lot, right? It's like people like either talking about like, oh, well, they probably got this done, or like they like probably did this, but then it's like, there's no way to make you happy, because if the person is gonna like look natural on it, then you have something to say about it as well.
Yeah. Right? Well, yeah, like the women in like media that don't get Botox done, people will say they look tired or they look old. Yeah. But if they do have like Botox, then they look fake. And they're trying to like prevent themselves from aging. Yeah. I'm like, yes. Yes. And yes,
that's the point of Botox. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Trying not to age.
That's what we want to do.
So it's definitely frustrating, and it's kind of sucks that like guys don't have to like deal with all of this as much. I know they have to deal with it a little bit. I'm not gonna like take away any like of the issues that they feel, but I don't think it's to the same extreme.
No, definitely not. And also, like, for guys that have stuff to say about women, like, don't. Because that's also very annoying. Like, I feel like you have the guys that are like, it's like the same thing, right? Where like the guys are like, oh, I don't like a girl that wears like a lot of makeup or likes to do like, okay, I'm pretty sure half of the girls that you think are hot on Instagram have their makeup done, have stuff done too, but then all of a sudden you decide you don't like it. Like, okay.
The makeup thing is like the worst. I feel like I got that a lot like in college, and like more with like Desi guys. I feel like the Desi guys are so big on like the natural look, you know, like, oh, like I don't like girls that wear a lot of makeup. They call it the caked look, you know? And I'm like, dude, you're looking at all these pictures on Instagram. You're liking all these pictures of like Kylie Jenner and all these other people.
Yeah.
They're definitely caked up.
Yeah, 100%. Or even if you're going to like look at like, if we're going to get even more Desi and talk about the Bollywood actresses, all of them have tons of makeup on.
Tons of makeup on.
And they have tons of probably like work done too, which is fine, you know? But it's like you can't say that that's what you're going to compare someone to and like that, but then tell, you know, the girl that you're dating or want to date that they like, you like them natural.
Yeah,
like,
because if you want them to not wear makeup, then they're probably going to need to get their lips tinted. They're probably going to need to get their eyebrows tinted. They're going to have to like get fake lashes in, and then yeah, maybe they'll have the no makeup look, but it won't be natural.
Yeah. Yeah, that is super annoying. Like I can't. Or like again, there's a lot of guys I feel like they're like, oh well, girls just get stuff done and da 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 da. Okay, what is it to you? Because I'm pretty sure you like that fat ass, so why don't you just keep it to yourself?
Yeah, they'll never know.
Yeah.
How would they know?
How would they know?
They wouldn't know.
Yeah.
People really should keep their comments to themselves when it comes to other people's like body images and how they dress and how they look and all of that, because we're all like working on it. We're all struggling, and some people actually don't even care.
Yeah.
You know? I wish I could like not care.
Yeah.
I think some people scroll through social media and really do not care.
Get bothered by anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. And I think that's, you know, again, it comes from a lot of like, again, messages of how like you grew up and kind of like, again, cultural stuff and, you know, just kind of like coming to terms with things yourself as you get older and getting comfortable with how you do things. Like, I feel like there's just like it's just a lot of stuff that makes up the way that people think about themselves, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a battle every day.
It is. Another battle is also finding clothes to wear to please other people, especially like to fit our bodies. Like for us, I think we like lightly talked about it before of like growing up Muslim, but like whenever we want to go somewhere, we have to make sure the like outfits we wear don't like have too much cleavage or aren't short or aren't like too tight. I think like until recently, like we weren't wearing like sleeveless around our family. Like I think I've worn like sleeveless around our family, but I'm not sure if you have.
I haven't.
But
I
like
also just wanted, but
but that like adds to like an extra like layer of like struggling with like your body, because you can't wear certain things that fit your body type because we have these extra like restrictions.
yeah.
You know, because some things probably look better on like your body, but you can't wear it because there is like an issue. Like for us, like with like a heavier chest, like it is nice to have like a little bit of cleavage showing, because if you have anything too high, it looks like you're bigger up at the top, you know? But we can't show our cleavage because that's also a no-no.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I like, yes, I agree with you. I think I'm thinking like from like my point of view, like I tend to like to wear like looser stuff now. So I think like it's not that much of an issue for me now, but like, yes, but I get what you're saying. In terms of just like being able to find things that match like all the, cause also like just wearing like things that are tighter too, right? Like, or just, it's like could seem inappropriate. So it's like if you're going to wear something tighter, wear something over it because it's going to look weird. Or
yes, like always pair it with a cardigan.
right. Or if like being able to wear like a dress, right? Like you have to think about the length, right? And like, oh, okay. Like sometimes I just want to wear a dress. Like I want to be comfortable and wear a dress, but then it's like I don't have a dress that's going to be long enough that I could wear, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, also, like, I know you were, like, looking for clothes to wear on your honeymoon trip and you're going to do your photo shoot out there. Like, finding, like, a dress to wear for that photo shoot, you weren't just taking into consideration, like, what looks good on your body, but you were also taking into consideration what is, like, appropriate to wear to show people pictures of, you know? Like, you weren't going to wear, like, a dress that, like, cut off above your knees.
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit more lax with that now because I'm married and I've kind of gotten the like, no.
Yeah, because like it's not gonna like hurt your wristos or anything.
Yeah, because I was even thinking like when we were talking about pictures that we're gonna take, and I was like, oh, like what should I wear for that? Because that had come across my mind. Because like what I had thought about wearing is a shorter dress that I have, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. But like in my head, you know, I did for a second cross my mind, like, oh, should I? And then I was like, I'm just gonna do it. But like, yeah, it's like stuff like that for sure. Yeah, or like even when it came to like wedding stuff, right? Like just making sure, because again, like cleavage, or like when I talked about like wanting to get a linga, but then not wanting it to show my stomach, right? Because like a linga is like a two-piece, right? So I really liked how those looked, but I also didn't want to feel uncomfortable feeling like my stomach was showing and it would be a problem for someone, right? So then it was
for
like
someone,
okay.
for anyone. Yeah.
So then it's like, all right, let's just go the safe route and wear like just a gown because I don't have to worry about that, you know? So like stuff like that too, it gets complicated.
Yeah, it does. And I'm waiting to get to that point where I can be like, oh, I'm married, so it doesn't really matter what I'm wearing. But I think still internally it'll always be there of like what's allowed or what's not allowed. Like I don't think I'd ever wear like a spaghetti strap dress somewhere.
Oh yeah, I think I'm thinking more for like pictures really, because the thing I feel like there's a difference for me when like I do it at like a family party or something, or like a family gathering, compared to like me posting a picture. I'm like, okay, like a number of people will see it, but unless they care that much to go out of their way to start like sending it to people, it's not really going to be a thing, right? They might see it and be like, okay, and maybe have a comment about it, but like whatever sort of thing. That's like I think like what comes in my like mind, but like I don't know if I would ever like feel comfortable to go to like a family party and wear like
It's the stuff that you post about like on Instagram.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I totally forgot too about like your profile is also like super public.
Yeah.
Mine's not public.
Yeah, I'm super public if anyone wants to at TVZ.
It's 3 E's, right?
Yeah, TV 3ZYY. But I'm going to link that from, it should already be linked from the last episode for you guys to see any wedding stuff that you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because during the wedding stuff, I actually had to kind of come to terms with that of like because like my profile has always been public, but I don't have my real name attached to it. And so for the longest time, it wasn't an issue. And I was like, okay, whatever. But then, because no one could really find me unless I gave them my Instagram name or they found me through something. What started happening though is around the wedding time, a lot of the vendors I use are huge in the Desi community. And a lot of those vendors are followed by people in our families and stuff like that. So then they would see me tagged. And so I started having a lot of family follow me. And so that's like, now I'm like public and I do have a lot of family that follows me, but now I'm kind of in the mindset of like, whatever, like what are they gonna say sort of thing, you know?
Yeah. I aspire. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm like, really? Also, it's cool because I've had family that have started to follow me, but I've also started to follow family and that are like our generation. Family? Yeah. And like they also don't care. And so I'm like, then why do I care?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because like our generation is cool and chill, but like it's like the older generations that are still very like old school.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. It's weird though. There's always, it's very interesting because I was even I was talking to Naveed about this, which is my husband, but in his culture, like they wear saris a lot, right? So a lot of the girls, like when I would go to like when I would see pictures of them, or I would go to like parties, like they're wearing saris and you can definitely see their stomach, right? But like that's not a problem. But like if a girl shows up wearing an American dress that's short, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I always thought that was really weird because I mean, like for our family, it's not, that wouldn't be okay. Even a sari showing a stomach, right? Like that would still be a problem. But in my head, I'm thinking like, I would ask him that. I'm like, how is that okay? But I'm pretty sure if one of the girls came wearing like a short dress, that would be a problem, right?
No, it totally
Which like
would
totally
be.
bothers me. I think it's really annoying, but like, yeah, apparently that's okay.
Yeah, definitely not in our family. And I have seen that too, like in certain like cultures, like Bengali people, or even like I think like South Indian Muslims can wear like showing their stomach because saris are very popular. But yeah, can't show up with like a crop top and jeans because that's a total no.
Yeah, so it's very interesting how there's that distinction too.
But hopefully, as like, you know, we move through time, people stop being as like critical of like what someone's wearing or their body. I don't see it happening really because that's just society. But I think that like for us at least, like Muslim girls growing up in America, I think it's getting a little bit more lenient.
Yeah, most definitely, which is good because, I mean, there's just, I mean, thinking back to just so many issues we had, like even growing up, like, I don't know, just like trying to figure out outfits that still looked fashionable, but like I could get my parents to buy me.
Yeah, no, and I also like another thing that like we didn't really talk about was like even like a jeans and shirt sometimes could feel like revealing. You know, because sometimes if you feel like your jeans are too tight, you want to wear a shirt or a cardigan that's long enough so that it covers your ass.
Yeah.
Because wearing just like a t-shirt with jeans could be like still like too open, you know?
Yeah. You know what really saved me was the trend of like the jean skirt with leggings. Like that really saved me because that was like actually a trend at one point, and I was like, yes.
Yeah. When you were allowed to wear like things with leggings underneath it, that definitely was a game changer.
Yeah.
And then when leggings like disappeared, it was like no.
Yeah, because then leggings became like, oh, you just wear them with a crop top, but then that's still like, we can't do that because that's too revealing.
Yeah.
Right? Or like how they are now, right? People wear it as like athleisure, which like, yeah, it's cute if we're wearing a sweatshirt, but like I'm pretty sure I can't show up to like my parents' house in like a crop top and leggings because that's just like, you know.
No. Yeah. Wearing leggings and like a t-shirt is like not allowed. I don't think I'd do that anywhere to like any of my aunts and uncles' house.
Yeah. I think I would wear like a longer shirt.
Yeah, a longer shirt, but that's the same thing as like covering your like behind, right?
I mean, I think I would still wear like a t-shirt that was like maybe to like my hips.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But not like a crop top or like...
No, not like something that would like have the risk of showing like my stomach or something, you know? But like, there was like something else I was thinking about and I like totally lost my train of thought.
Well, another thing that saved us was when those like short like cardigans were like in style. Do you remember the ones like the cropped cardigans?
You would wear it over
because you
stuff?
just wear it over tanks and like you were like good to go.
Yeah, that's true. That one did save us. That was a good one too.
And that like didn't last too long though.
We don't really have any saving graces right now, guys. I mean, like I guess like layering and stuff is in, but it gets hard when it starts getting hot outside.
Yes.
You know?
And a lot of the layering stuff like doesn't like I think look good on everyone's body, and I don't think it like photographs too well.
Yeah, unless you're like tiny.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because like you see it all the time, like all these girls wearing this like oversized like, what is this called? Shacket. The shacket look with the like straight jeans, and like it looks good, but then like when I put it on, and then I see a picture of myself with it on, I'm like, oh well, where did my shape go?
Right.
You know.
Right. Yes, I agree. Yeah, or like baggy stuff if you already have like curves tend to just make you look, like you said, like just like, like a square, you know?
I think also, like, I realized the whole, like, baggy stuff doesn't look good on my body type back, like, when we did a photo shoot, a fake photo shoot. We took pictures of each other at the poppy fields. I remember when we went to the poppy fields in, like, Lake Elsinore area.
Weren't you wearing like leggings though?
I was
like...
wearing leggings and like a loose flowy shirt.
Oh, okay.
And I felt like that loose flowy shirt did not photograph well because it was like loose.
Well, I think that also comes back in for us because of our bigger chest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember I knew a girl from high school who had a really big chest too, back then. And she used to tell me that. And I didn't understand it at that time because I had, but like not as big as her. And she used to tell me like I have to wear tight stuff because if I don't, I look just huge. Right. Mm-hmm. But like if I wear tight stuff, you can see that I have a figure,
mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That is the exact moment when I looked at our pictures later. I was like, oh.
Gosh, I hated those pictures. I look back at them and I was like, I was like wearing like a white like t-shirt.
But
and
I thought
jeans.
it was cute. Like you like showed up and it like went with the like vibes. Like you were just like wearing like a normal t-shirt with jeans and we were in the poppy fields, I look like a loser when I look at those
I'm pretty
outfits.
sure my jeans at that time were like low rise or something.
It's quite possible. I don't even think it couldn't have been that long ago, though. I know
that's why I'm like, was I wearing?
No, it was definitely within the last 7 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but I don't think low-rise jeans were a thing.
When did high-rise jeans become a thing? I don't even know.
I would say like 2012. Because I think low-rise was still like a little bit a thing, like my first couple of years in college, and then I think towards the end it was like high-waisted.
So yeah, it's definitely getting that time where the trends are turning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not about it.
Yeah. Well, did you want to add anything else to the podcast where we basically just talk about how life's been difficult as a woman?
No, I mean, not really. I think that, just the takeaway of all of this is that, we all have had certain like thoughts and feelings about our body and still do. And I think I know that it's a lot easier said than done for us to start saying that like everyone, and we've all been guilty of saying things, even about ourselves or other people that probably were insensitive, But again, like I think it's just like a learning curve that like all together we should just like try to stop doing that, right? Try to change the narrative now and like just let people do what they want to do and be what they want to be. And I think if we're able to do that, it's going to start taking away the pressure, And I think we've started the narrative, I love that like, we did talk about like the evils of social media, but there's also a lot of good that's coming from it where it's like girls that are becoming influencers that do have like, fuller bodies and they're trying to like bring more awareness to it or be like, this looks good on me. This is what I would wear. And that's really nice to see, you know? So,
and I also like, going off of that, I like seeing those social media accounts too, where like they'll reply to comments that are like, oh, like drop your like workout routine or drop your like diet. And they'll respond and say like, honestly, like, I don't do anything. This is all genetics. Like, please don't look at me and think this is, like, something that, like, there is, like, a process to getting to. Because, like, a lot of it is genetics. Like, people don't really talk about that enough. That, like, you can work out so much. You can, like, eat, like, a certain way so much. But you might still never look the way certain people look. Because that is not your, like, body's built.
Yeah. No, it is true. It's definitely true. Yeah, so I think, there's a lot of good stuff, I guess, coming from social media, too. I think it's just, like, as people, we just kind of have to push that narrative more and just kind of let people, be what they want to be and not be so critical of each other and of ourselves as well.
Yeah. I second everything you said.
Cool. Well, I think that's the end of today's episode.
Yeah.
Hold the bronzer.
Sounds good. We're excited to move on to episode 4 and hopefully everyone is still listening.
Yeah, and follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
You could probably find our personal Instas on there too if you want to follow us. I don't mind it.
Yes.
So, yeah, but we'll definitely, try to post more and hopefully, start some more engagement stuff. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, you can just comment below or send us DMs with any message or questions. And, we can always try to answer those on here as well.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.